Making a friend as an adult is genuinely hard, not awkward hard, not slightly uncomfortable hard. Genuinely, inexplicably difficult, in a way that catches most people completely off guard the first time they notice it. You meet someone interesting. You enjoy talking to them. You think, this could be a friend, and then nothing happens. You don't follow up. They don't follow up. The moment passes, and you both go back to your separate lives wondering vaguely why adult friendship feels so much harder than it seemed to be when you were younger. Nobody teaches you why this happens. But the answer is sitting in something most people never think about. What friendship actually looked like before cities, before phones, before the entire modern infrastructure of social life. Because ancient humans made friends constantly, deeply, in ways that created bonds that lasted decades, and held communities together through conditions that would destroy most modern relationships in a week. And understanding how they did it tells you something uncomfortable and important about why you're finding it so hard now. Here's something that surprises people. Friendship is not a feeling, not primarily. Friendship is a pattern of repeated behavior that produces a feeling. Psychologist Julianne Holt-Lunstad at Brigham Young University, who has done the most comprehensive research on social connection and health outcomes in recent decades, describes friendship as fundamentally a function of proximity, repetition, and shared circumstance. Not shared interests, not personality compatibility, not the magical click that movies suggest happens between people who are meant to be friends. Proximity, repetition, shared circumstance. You are physically near the same person repeatedly over time, in conditions where you are both experiencing something together. That is the raw material of friendship. Everything else, the feeling of connection, the sense of being known, the specific warmth of a deep friendship, is what develops from that raw material when the conditions are right and the time accumulates. Ancient humans had all three conditions in overwhelming abundance. You lived with the same 30 to 50 people your entire life. You ate with them. You hunted with them. You slept in proximity to them. You faced danger together. You experienced joy together. You grieved together. Proximity, constant, repetition, daily, shared circumstance, everything. The conditions for friendship were baked into the structure of ancient life in a way that required zero deliberate effort. Robin Dunbar at Oxford, the evolutionary psychologist who gave us Dunbar's number, the idea that humans can maintain roughly 150 meaningful social relationships at once, has a theory about how ancient human friendship actually worked at the biological level. He calls it the grooming hypothesis. In other primates, chimpanzees, bonobos, gorillas, social bonding happens primarily through physical grooming. One animal picks through another's fur. This is not just hygiene. The physical contact produces endorphins in both animals. It creates a biological bond. The time you spend grooming another animal is a direct measure of how important that relationship is to you. In small primate groups, this works perfectly. But Dunbar noticed something. As human group sizes grew larger than what physical grooming could maintain, you cannot groom 50 people simultaneously. Humans developed a remarkable alternative. Language, specifically gossip, conversation, the shared exchange of information about the social world. Dunbar's research suggests that approximately 65% of all human conversation is social gossip, talking about people, relationships, who did what, how the group is functioning. This is not shallow. This is the grooming equivalent. This is how humans maintain social bonds across groups too large for physical contact to serve the function alone. And in ancient communities, this conversation was constant, uninterrupted. The campfire at night, the walk to the water source, the hours of food preparation. Time that modern life has almost entirely eliminated. But proximity and conversation alone don't create deep friendship. They create acquaintance. What converts acquaintance into friendship is something that psychologist Arthur Aron at Stony Brook University identified in a famous 1997 experiment. He took pairs of strangers and had them ask each other increasingly personal questions. Questions that progressively revealed more about each person's inner life, fears, hopes, and experiences. The control group made small talk. After 45 minutes, the pairs who had asked the personal questions reported significantly higher feelings of closeness, in some cases, describing the stranger as among the closest people they felt to after a single 45-minute conversation. The mechanism was mutual vulnerability. When you reveal something real about yourself to another person, and they receive it with acceptance and reciprocate with something real about themselves, something happens neurologically. Oxytocin releases. The threat response system quiets. The other person's face moves from stranger category to trusted category in your brain's social map. Ancient humans were doing this constantly, not through formal experiments, through the structure of their lives. You cannot hide who you are from 30 people you live with. You are seen at your best and your worst. Your fears are visible. Your failures are known. Your grief is witnessed. And when your grief is witnessed, by the same people who will hunt beside you tomorrow, something forms that modern friendship rarely achieves, because modern life rarely requires it. There is a third mechanism that developmental psychologist Stuart Brown at the National Institute for Play has identified as essential to deep social bonding. Play, shared laughter, shared games, shared physical activity, shared creative expression. Play is not a children's activity that adults graduate out of. Play is a neurological mechanism for creating trust and reducing threat response between individuals. When you play with another person, when you laugh together, when you engage in low-stakes shared challenge, when you do something together that has no purpose beyond enjoyment, something happens in both nervous systems simultaneously. The amygdala quiets, oxytocin releases. The other person's presence becomes associated with safety rather than neutrality. Ancient humans played constantly. The evidence from anthropological studies of contemporary hunter-gatherer groups is consistent and striking. These groups spend significant portions of their day in activities that serve no immediate survival purpose. Storytelling, music, dancing, games, jokes, creative work. Modern research has consistently found that laughter in particular is one of the most powerful social bonding mechanisms available. Shared laughter produces endorphin release that physical exercise produces. Your ancient ancestors were laughing together around fires for hours every night. That is friendship infrastructure. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The three conditions that made ancient friendship almost automatic, proximity, vulnerability, and play, are precisely the conditions that modern adult life systematically removes. Proximity. You live in separate houses. You drive to work alone. Your social interactions happen in context where everyone is performing a role. The casual, involuntary proximity that ancient life provided continuously is almost entirely absent. Vulnerability. Modern adult life has a powerful norm against revealing real struggles to people who are not already close friends. You are supposed to be fine, competent, managing. The mutual vulnerability that converts acquaintance to friendship is locked behind a gate that says you can only open it once you are already friends, which is precisely the condition you are trying to create. Play. Adults in modern culture have almost entirely removed legitimate play from their lives. Work is serious. Social events are performative. The low-stakes shared fun that the nervous system needs to move another person from neutral to safe almost never happens. What we have instead is the simulation of these things. A text exchange that simulates conversation. A curated social media profile that simulates vulnerability while actually performing a carefully edited self. A brief catch-up over coffee that simulates the kind of extended shared time that ancient friendship ran on. And then we wonder why adult friendship feels shallow and difficult, and like something that happens to other people. Your ancient ancestors did not have a friendship problem. They had the opposite problem. They had no choice but to form deep bonds with the people around them, because those people were their entire world. You could not opt out. You could not scroll past. You could not decline the social event and stay home watching something alone. The 30 people in your group were reality, all of it. And so the mechanisms for bonding with them, the proximity, the shared experience, the involuntary vulnerability, the play, were simply the texture of daily life. What you have instead is choice, infinite choice. You can curate exactly who you spend time with, when, for how long, in what format. You can maintain the appearance of social connection through devices, while experiencing almost none of the biological conditions that actually produce it. The friendship difficulty you feel is not a personal failure. It is a structural mismatch. Your ancient friendship system was built for conditions that no longer exist, and the modern world has not replaced those conditions with anything that produces the same biological result. Psychologist Robert Dunbar's research found something striking. People with strong, close friendships, not many acquaintances but a few genuinely deep bonds, show dramatically better health outcomes, lower rates of heart disease, stronger immune function, significantly longer lifespan. The effect size is comparable to the difference between smoking and not smoking. This is not sentiment. This is biology. Your body expects friendship the way it expects food and sleep, not social performance, not digital interaction, actual proximity, actual shared experience, actual vulnerability, actual play with actual people over actual time. Your ancestors had this automatically. You have to build it deliberately. And the first step is understanding that it doesn't come from finding the right person. It comes from creating the conditions. Proximity, repetition, shared circumstance, real vulnerability, real play, that turn any reasonably compatible person into someone who knows you. The ancient campfire had one function that nobody planned for and everybody needed. It kept everyone close enough, long enough, with enough shared experience in the dark and the cold and the warmth, for friendship to become inevitable. You are still looking for that fire.